Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Discoveries Basecamp 1. I am Gary Bussa, aka Dr. Discoveries.
And I'm Ranger Rebekah, and today we are filming here at Heritage Farm Museum and Village in Huntington, West Virginia.
Guess what we're talking about today, guys? We are talking about turtles, tortoises, terrapins. So come back and see what we got lined up for you.
Welcome to the Highland Museum and Discovery Center.
Come on, let's go see what's inside. The Highlands Museum and Discovery Center is not only full of tons of history, but it's also a lot of fun.
Here's a sneak peek of Country Music Heritage Hall, which features Highway 23 entertainers and many local bluegrass artists. In the military exhibit located on the mezzanine level at the museum is the proposed replica of the Boyd County Honor Roll Memorial Wall.
Also in the military exhibit is one of the Highlands' most famous artifacts. It is Hitler's bedside phone, and yes, it is real.
Are you looking for the perfect venue for your next event?
Whether you have 50 people or up to 500,
Ashland's largest conference center has you covered. Adults and children of all ages enjoy our Discovery Center located in the lowest level of the Highlands Museum. To the Highlands Museum!
Aye, aye, Captain.
I'm Ranger Rebekah, and I'm here to tell you a little bit more about Heritage Farm Museum and Village in Huntington, West Virginia. So here we are in the Heritage Farm Petting Zoo, and I'm with Thunder. We have all kinds of fun animals for your kids to be able to have an up-close interaction with. We are currently in the General Store Museum, and this is to show you what going to Walmart would have been like back in the 1800s. Our transportation museum has everything from some original Model Ts to a lot of things about trains and 1908 electric truck and more. It's really fun to come see how progress started with how we go from here to here. So it's really an interesting feel. It throws you back in time. If you haven't been here before, we hope you come out. There's lots of great things to do.
Hey guys, welcome back to Discoveries Basecamp 1. We got some kids with us today. Come up and introduce yourself one by one. Come on up here.
My name is Shaylin Ann Kutcher, and I live in Ona, West Virginia.
Hey, Shaylin.
All right.
My name is Elias Kutcher, and I live in Ona, West Virginia.
All righty.
Awesome.
Wave to the camera.
Come on up here.
Well, my name is Cohen. I live in Huntington, West Virginia.
Awesome, Connor.
I'm Seth Warnick, and I live in Ashland, Kentucky.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is Xander. He is totally out of control. Guess what we're talking about today, guys? We are talking about turtles, tortoises, and terrapins. Now, I know you found some more corn. That's great. Check this out. We have a red ear slider. And Rebecca's going to tell you about his legs.
So this is Cosmo. Cosmo is one of our red-eared sliders here at Heritage Farm. Cosmo's rescued because she's missing her back two legs. See how she has her front two but doesn't have the back two? What on earth do you think could be a predator of a turtle?
Mainly coyotes and
I could see that for sure. But what's a pesky little animal that likes to get into things? They look super cute, but they're also really
They
rotten.
get into my
They
garbage
have a
all the
mask.
time.
They look like they're wearing a mask. Raccoon, yep. Raccoons will try and eat the back legs of turtles because turtles actually can't pull in their back legs. So they can sometimes eat the back legs. But turtles can heal really easily from that. And so Cosmo has and is living her best life here in our petting zoo collection.
Why don't we tell them a little bit about turtles? Now, I always like to tell people the top is what, Shayla? The carapace. And the bottom, what's that? Plastron, okay? Now, the turtle on the top, it's like a backbone. It's like an extension of his backbone, okay? So that's just an oversized backbone. And underneath here, that's like an extension of his rib cage.
Yeah. So I'm having you guys feel along the spine. Can you point to your spine? Where's your spine? Exactly. So do you think that turtles have to get new shells or their same shell grows with them their whole life?
their same shell.
Their same shell. Unlike, say, a hermit crab that has to get new shells as it grows, turtles' spine is a part of their shell, so they're able to grow with them as they grow. Same with the rib cage on the bottom of the plastron.
Now, if you look at each little spot on the shell, that is called a scoot. And as the shell grows, the scoots will fall off and be replaced by larger scoots.
And the reason why there is algae on the back of Cosmo and other red-eared sliders that you'd see is that attracts little fish to come try and nibble on them, and then these guys eat those little fish. So it's actually quite nifty. When they're basking themselves in the sun, the algae grows on their shell, minnows come to eat the algae off the shell, and then Cosmo whips her neck around and...
Okay, so the shell is basically the same way with all the turtles, terrapins. They're just, some are a little more shallow and some are bigger. Now let's talk a little bit about winter, okay? Because different turtles do different things during the winter. What I like to tell people about these guys, because everybody's like, where do all those water turtles go? You can see with his paws there, see that? You can see in between each toe, each claw is webbing. So this guy spends most of his time in water. What do you think happens when winter comes? Do you know? They go under the water, okay? Under the water, it's not as cold as it is on top of water. And they go through what's called a brumation. It's not hibernation, it's brumation. And they slow their body down to where they don't use very much oxygen at all. Now, what low oxygen they do use comes in through the hind end, okay? And we call that cloacal respiration. Can you guys say cloacal?
Cloacal.
Awesome. Your teachers are going to be amazed when you return to the classroom.
What they do is actually are able to take in water from behind and actually take out that oxygen, which is what you and I breathe. We breathe oxygen from the water and are able to use that in their bodies to keep their blood circulating. They're pretty much more asleep than they are awake all winter long.
Now, do you guys ever wake up and your muscles are sore? Kind of get cramped up? These guys do also. That's why when you go to a pond, you'll see them hanging out on a log or something, getting lots of sun. Remember, turtles, these guys are still reptiles. So they need the sun to heat them up. They're cold-blooded animals. So when you see them out on the log heating themselves up, they're actually getting rid of those gases inside their body that cramp up their body and make them hurt.
So again, Cosmo is a true turtle. We're going to talk about a couple other animals that are in the turtle family, but they're not necessarily true turtles. And what did it mean to be a true turtle? You live in the water almost full time. So turtles like Cosmo live almost in the water all the time. They come up to bask. So everybody say bye to Cosmo.
Rebecca, look what I found. Wow. Isn't that pretty? Pet it on the shell. Do you have a name for this one, Rebekah?
This is Harriet the box turtle. I love box turtles. They're my favorite turtles. And these guys are actually not true turtles like Cosmo was. They don't spend all their time in the water. This is a fancy word called a terrapin. Can you guys say terrapin? Terrapin. So even though we call them box turtles, they're not true turtles. Terrapins spend half their time in the land and half the time in the water. So what Harriet does is she lives in moist places. And in those moist places, we have a lot of them around here, near creeks or near puddles. And then she's able to stay nice and wet, but also be dry at the same time. Alrighty, so if you guys want to touch Harriet, you can. Actually, something that a lot of people don't know about turtles in general is that they can feel you touch their shells. So you never want to do anything like knock on their shell or hit it or throw it, because that actually will hurt them like it would hurt you. They may look like a rock, but they have nerves all throughout their shell because their spine is connected to it. So they can actually feel you touch them. So always you want to be gentle with turtles.
Now, the cool thing about box turtles and turtles in general is you might see them walking around your property. Like if it's rained or something, had a heavy rain, they might be walking around your property. They may even start walking across the road. If it's safe to do so, Mommy and Daddy can pull over, but here's where everybody gets it mixed up. Turtles are very territorial-like. They know where they're at and they stay where they're at. So if you see a turtle crossing the street this way, take him across the street and put him down the exact way that he was heading. Don't take him home. It's actually illegal to keep these types of turtles at home. Make sure you put him back in the environment where he needs to be. Now, if some people actually take these and paint their shells, that's not a good thing at all, because these guys have a lot of predators that come after them, and if it wasn't for the camouflage on their shells, then they would be setting ducks. Won't you tell them what camouflage is?
Do any of you guys know what camouflage is? Yeah. What is it?
It's when something turns into the same color as another thing.
Yeah, so something is a similar color to what their surroundings are. I'm trying to get Harriet to eat this strawberry here, but maybe she won't. So Harriet here has a lot of brown to her. So she blends in with muds and sticks and leaves and everything. And so that is her camouflage. So if you were to paint her, it would make her stand out, and so predators may be able to see her easier. So that's
and
not
you
a good
said one of the main predators are raccoons.
But actually, these guys, unlike Cosmo the turtle, are able to completely enclose themselves in their shells. Their back legs don't hang out. They can completely bring in every single body part in their shell.
Now, the red-eared slider, remember we said he went under the pond, under the water during winter on a brumation? These guys go on a hibernation, a true hibernation. They go down into the ground and they will stay there until winter. Now, tell them about the groundhog.
Yeah, we here like to say that they are the true groundhog, because we have Groundhog's Day. And the groundhog in February 2nd is supposed to say whether spring's coming or winter's coming. It's never right. It's pretty much the same thing. Nobody understands why we do it, but it's just fun. Well, the turtle, the box turtle here, is a real groundhog. We like to say that when our turtles have come up from underneath the ground from hibernation, that then you know spring has really come. Want to know why? Because they will not come above ground until it is going to be 55 degrees or above consistently.
No frost.
Yep. They cannot survive a frost. Now, some turtles will come out early when we have warm days in February and they're a little confused, but most of the time you can rely on a turtle not to come up until it's going to be 55 or above all the time. So that's our terrapin.
Next, we are going to have a member of Salcutta.
Yep.
African spurred tortoise.
Not native like Cosmo and Harriet. I'm Ranger Rebekah, and I'm here to tell you a little bit more about Heritage Farm Museum and Village in Huntington, West Virginia. So here we are in the Heritage Farm Petting Zoo, and I'm with Thunder. We have all kinds of fun animals for your kids to be able to have an up-close interaction with. We are currently in the General Store Museum, and this is to show you what going to Walmart would have been like back in the 1800s. Our Transportation Museum has everything from some original Model Ts to a lot of things about trains, and 1908 electric truck, and more. It's really fun to come see how progress started with how we go from here to here. So it's really an interesting feel. It throws you back in time. If you haven't been here before, we hope you come out. There's lots of great things to do.
Welcome back to Discovery's Basecamp 1. Look at this. We have Leonard the Tortoise. What kind of tortoise is he, Rebekah?
Leonard is an African spurred tortoise. So he's not native here to North America. He's native to Africa, actually in the southern Sahara. And they are the third largest breed of tortoise in the world. Underneath, Galapagos is the largest. Aldabra is the second largest, and then the African spurred tortoise is the third largest. And Leonard is not even full grown yet. Leonard still has several years of growing to do. He's only about 20 years old, and they can live to be into their 80s.
Now guys, this is a tortoise. If you look at the paws of this tortoise, if you look at the legs, you will not see any kind of webbing. You'll just see kind of like a club foot that he can use to walk around on.
And that means he's a tortoise. He's going to stay on land all the time. He might soak in a little shallow puddle of water for a little bit of water intake, but he lives in the desert. He doesn't care about water. He can get a little bit of water and that can last him for weeks. He is mostly concerned about the sun. He really likes to stay warm and out on dry land all the time.
Now Rebekah, here at the Heritage Farm Museum and Village, what do you guys feed him?
So he kind of gets a turtle salad. So Leonard loves kale, and he loves strawberries. He loves watermelon. He loves anything leafy green. He likes cucumbers. It's really important for him to get a lot of greens and then supplement that with fruits and veggies. And that is going to get him all the right nutrients that he needs. So he eats a really healthy plate. He also just likes to munch on grass and dandelion and clover as well. He's a pretty healthy dude.
Now, how old would you say he is?
He's in his 20s, yes.
And he'll live up to?
He'll be in his 80s if all things go well.
You guys, come over here and
you can
take
pet
a
him if you'd
closer
like.
look at him. Do you guys have any questions about tortoises, especially the third largest tortoise in the world? Go ahead and pet him, guys. Yes.
Yeah, you can pet him.
Any animal in the wild that can break the shell open?
Oh boy,
That's a good question. And the answer is really not really anything other than humans. And humans who are doing it, it's illegal. It's called poaching. And that's the word poaching is when people are stealing parts of animals to sell, and it's illegal, and they're trying to make money off of it. And people try and sell tortoise shells for money, and that's illegal. Other than that, he does not have many predators at all. That's why they can live so long, because not much is going to be able to get into that shell to be able to get to a tortoise like Leonard.
Do you know the oldest living tortoise? I heard it was about 350 years.
Yeah.
And the reason we know this is because in Britain they had military that kept records long ago. And you can actually see records of the tortoise as a young tortoise, and you can see that it's the same type of tortoise, and he's still living today.
He's a Galapagos tortoise.
Yeah, Galapagos tortoise. So that's just what we have down on paper. Imagine if 350 is the age of one tortoise, there might be others that reach a higher age. They do not stop growing until they die.
So we were trying to feed Leonard strawberries, and why that is usually the color red really gets Leonard. So you were asking about the color red with the bison. Are they attracted to the color red? The answer is really no. But actually with most turtles and tortoises, the answer is yes. Red is one of the only colors that they can see. So they really are, love strawberries and watermelon and tomatoes because that color, that bright color red really spikes their attention. Even women with red toenail polish sometimes Leonard goes after. But today he's just more interested in the grass. So let's review again. A turtle is a turtle. They're all three turtles, but a turtle is a turtle that spends all of its time in the water except for when it's basking in the sun. A terrapin is a turtle that spends all of its time in and out of the water, both in and out. And a tortoise is a turtle that spends all of its time on land. They're all in the same family, but there is a difference.
So thank you for joining us on Basecamp 1. Join us next time when we talk about bees.